Good afternoon. I'm Ken Brown here on Local Sports Wrap Up. Today is March 7th, 2023, and I have the privilege of being with Frank the Tank again. Frank, how you been, my friend?
Great, Ken. Great to be back.
Man, it's good to see you. I think that we hammered it out really well last time. We got a lot of information, a lot of moving parts with hockey, basketball, cheer, and bowling. And we got a lot of results in, as these seasons are coming towards an end.
Right.
And it feels good, so we can hop to it.
Get right to it.
Get right to it, all right? On the ice, all right? We here, selfishly, we've been talking about Wyandotte, the big run that they had, how they were Iron Man ball, and they only had 12 players, things of that nature. They took a shellacking since I've last seen you. They lost 8-0 that week. But there's some other winners from downriver that have played really good. Who are they? Let's talk about it a little bit.
We had Riverview Gabriel Richard won their quarterfinal on Saturday, 6-1 against Ann Arbor Gabriel Richard.
Okay.
So they are now headed to the state semifinals, and they will play Ann Arbor. They will play on Friday in the state semifinals at USA Hockey Arena. They'll play Flint Powers Catholic. That's a team that they lost to 4-3 back in the regular season. So we'll see if they can avenge that defeat this time around.
So Gabriel Richard actually plays Flint Powers. They beat up on their namesake, I guess, Gabriel Richard, 6-1. So now they play Powers, who they played this year, but they lost 4-3. You said it was a shootout that time too, right?
Yeah, I believe they ended up going overtime. That was during that MIHL showcase.
Okay.
In Trenton back in February.
Yeah, and I know, not to date myself much, but Powers was really good in football when I was younger, so I'm sure that they've moved that to the ice, it sounds like, and they're pretty good. Because we know that Gabriel Richard's been doing pretty well all season. So 4-3, they could come back from that. We're looking at a really good game.
I think they're a better team now than they were then, too. Watching them these last few games, watching them win the region against Grosse Ile that night, they ended up beating Grosse Ile in a mercy, 8-0, and Grosse Ile was a really good team coming into that. So I think Gabriel Richard right now is hitting on all cylinders. I think that program is really, really taken off. It's really turned into one of the state powers. Coach Ricky DeSena really has that team going in the right direction. That top to bottom, there's just so many good kids on that team. They're so deep that I would not be surprised to see them hoisting the championship this weekend, hoisting the championship trophy this weekend on the ice at USA Arena in Plymouth.
No, that would be cool. And of course, we talked last week about Jimmy Monks. So it'd be good for someone that's kind of in the running or has a slight chance to be the Mr. Hockey to actually, he's made it to the high school version of the Frozen Four. So now you just want to see if they can win the whole thing.
Right.
So we're rooting for Monks. The winner would play East Grand Rapids or Houghton. So Houghton's going to make the trip down from the UP, and they're going to mix it up with East Grand Rapids. So that should be a good one as well.
That will be.
And then the winner hopefully gets Gabriel Richard, and we can come back and talk about how the Gabriel Richard is the state champs in hockey.
Yeah, well, I think it could happen. I think we could see it.
What's kind of a bummer is the guy from Wyandotte that had 47 goals. We know he didn't get another one, huh?
No, that night they ran into a Trenton team that was just hitting on all cylinders. I believe they had Wyandotte had 6 skaters that night, which unfortunately was par for the course down the stretch there. That team was lacking in depth. They were, they made up for it in talent, obviously on the ice and in grit, but I think it just caught up to them, and they ran into a Trenton team that was just in full-on. They were in full-on playoff mode. Full-on Trenton playoff mode is another level that you don't normally see in a lot of hockey programs.
Now, just for 2 things. One, I heard you say Ricky DeSena. He's the coach at.
Gabriel Richard.
Okay, because there's also a DeSena that's the coach at Wyandotte, and I was just trying to make sure. I don't recall Coach's first name, Coach DeSena, but
Adam.
Adam. No, that's cool. All right. So, did Trenton end up getting? Did they lose? They lost.
Trenton did end up losing.
Okay, and that's cool. Gabriel Richard, they're the downriver representative that we have left, so we're kind of hoping that it turns out for them. Maybe they can get Houghton, and it's like the furthest from 13 hours away, and we could be like playing a really away team or something like that.
Yeah.
As far as on the basket, Trenton lost to UAD Jesuit 2-1.
In hockey, yes.
In hockey, that's who they lost to. Yes. Trenton lost to UAD Jesuit.
Yeah, they ran into a really good UAD Jesuit team. Their goalie was hot that night, and they just couldn't get anything. But they had their chances. They had a few really good chances. Got some really good shots off. A couple times the puck was laying right there in the crease, and they couldn't knock it home. You know, that easily could have went Trenton's way, but unfortunately it didn't. So it's UAD moving on.
And even though the score was 6-1 in that game, and Jimmy Monks is that guy, it really was Aiden Gonzalez on the night that got off. Aiden Gonzalez got a hat trick.
He had a hat trick that night. Yeah, they pounced all over that Anna Burchard team. Yeah.
In high school hockey, do the fans throw their hats on the court like in, or that's gone? That's out of the game?
Once in a great while, you'll still see that, but I know that the athletic directors and your rink directors and such are not a big fan of things being thrown on the ice. So.
Sure. And you know what? I was thinking it's like hats are like $25 to $40 right now, so that'd be a heck of an investment to be cheering that guy on. It'd be different if you got to keep right. Me neither. It'd be different if the player got to keep them, so now he's got like all these cool hats in his collection. But the hardwood, we saw some games. We know that the kid from E-Course broke the 2,000-point barrier a couple weeks ago, so that was good, for us to see. But as far as the other great news for Wyandotte and Downriver fans is those Bears, there they go, 75-62 over Southgate. And that's a good win for the Bears, to grow and get into the next round. And then we got, it looked like Trenton beat Monroe 52-44. Riverview beat up New Boston 58-34. And then you got Detroit Frederick Douglass 52. Inner City Baptist is 49. That's Allen Park Inner City Baptist. And then Detroit Western, they get 50, and they beat up Melvindale 50-13. Looks like a bad football score. I guess it's a good basketball score for Detroit Western. So that's kind of how the boys rounded out. And it'll be interesting. What we know is that Wyandotte has to play Lincoln Park in the next round,
right?
Which is going to be a tough game.
It will be a tough game for them.
Yeah. The good news is they played them twice. And the bad news is they lost by 24, I think, the first game, and then they lost 51-38 a couple weeks ago. So they've got film on them, so they should have an opportunity to at least strategize how they want to attack them. So hopefully we can get a different outcome. But from what I saw from Lincoln Park, they look pretty tough.
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times this year, and they were really tough. They hit their shots. They grab their rebounds. They don't give the opponent a lot of chances. So and they're quick. They're really quick. They're well coached. So it's going to be a battle for Wyandotte, but anything can happen.
Sure.
This time of year.
Play the game. It's March Madness, baby.
This is our version of March Madness here on the high school level.
Yeah, anything can go. I wonder, last year, that game, though, for that district, if I'm not wrong, it was Lincoln Park versus Allen Park.
Correct.
And Allen Park, and this is just Ken Brown on the side, right? I go to the YMCA, right? Okay. and taking my son in there to get him some shots up. And there's a kid from Allen Park. I should have asked the kid his name. He had the prettiest jumper. Now, you could tell he was kind of young, but he had on like Allen Park gear.
Okay.
And he was just by himself practicing over and over, repetition, corner threes, in the middle, drive, drop. I was like, and I think Allen Park's going to be pretty good. You know what I mean? Just based on this kid's work ethic and how he went. And I think it goes to what you said, that when you're well coached, you got to know that you got to practice beyond when we're practicing here with the team. You got to try to get better on your own. So it'd be interesting to see how Allen Park attacks Lincoln Park if they beat or Wyandotte, because it'd be either Wyandotte or Lincoln Park that will play Allen Park, I think.
Right. Both teams are well coached. Brian Starl at Lincoln Park has done a great job. He's been there a while. And Jimmy Victor over at Allen Park has been there a long time too. So you got two well-coached teams that are, well, depending on what happens, will likely meet up in that final.
Yeah, and I think that when you say well-coached, it makes me run to kind of what you said about that last guy, that they have consistency, right? Mm-hmm. Like they have a consistent coach, they have a good system, they're working it out, and they've seen so many different things that they kind of can prepare for anything on the fly. Which makes a lot of sense.
Right.
What about the other thing? We talked about basketball. There's a kid out of, you said it was going to be the toughest division. It was Summit. It's a district.
Right.
Go ahead.
That one's going to be played over at New Boston here on Wednesday night. You're going to have Riverview and Flat Rock going up against each other. Those two teams this year were the co-champions in the Huron League. And then on the other side of that bracket, you're going to have Romulus Summit Academy, which is ranked number 1 in the state, going up against Grozio, which had a 14-8 record this year. You know, so you got 4 strong teams that are going up against each other, all bunched up in that district together. So they're going to battle it out.
Yeah, that makes for good basketball. And the real thing that you gave me insight on, there's a kid, James Harris.
James Wright.
Jimmy Wright. Jimmy Wright. Jimmy Wright can't do any wrong, and he's playing for Summit Academy. He's up for Mr. Basketball, and they're number 1 in the state in their division. So that's how tough that little bracket is. Yeah. You got probably I don't want to say the worst, but the worst of that is 14-8, which is a good record. Yep. And then the other ones are strong. So they're going to earn it. We're going to earn that number 1 seeding if that's the case. And then as far as the girls, we had the girls go off too. Riverview. There you go. The Lady Pirates are 64. They beat Allen Park 64-47. And correct me if I'm wrong. Allen Park's normally a really good team.
Allen Park is a good team, but Riverview is a power. Riverview has evolved into a state power. I thought they got robbed this year in the state rankings. They didn't really get in till the end, and even at that point, it was just an honorable mention. But they were. I mean, like I said last time, you know, they were beating people by like 30, 40 points on the regular. So that was, and Rob Souter, as I mentioned last time, has done an amazing job with that program. This was their 5th district title in a row.
Okay, now that makes a lot of sense. Now, Bedford 58, Trenton 27. They bested Trenton pretty good. Wow. Romulus 48, Flat Rock 30, and that knocks a couple of those teams that had been doing pretty good in the Downriver League out of it. And then Gabriel Richard, though, they win 72-30 over Detroit Central, and Allen Park Cabrini 54, Allen Park Intercity Baptist 36. So that's the Battle of Allen Park. Goes to Cabrini.
Right.
Of those teams that we mentioned, do you see potential for someone to have in those girl bracket? Do you see somebody having an extended run?
I guess going back to Riverview again, that's the team team to beat.
Sure.
They're going to have, they play this week now in the regionals.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to have to play. They're going to see Fortson. They'll have a good chance of getting by Fortson, but in that next round.
Is it Wayne Memorial? Is that the next round?
The next round is Bedford, and I can't remember who's on the other side of that. I forget if it's Wayne Memorial. I don't. It's two powerhouse teams.
Yeah.
I believe it is. I believe it's Wayne Memorial, but but either it's going to be tough. That Thursday game is going to be.
Must-see basketball.
Definitely,
it's going to be must-see basketball.
They're
Thursday.
They're not going to get blown out.
No.
The Riverview team, they'll battle to the end. They did last year. They gave Wayne Memorial a battle last year in that state quarterfinal. So.
And that's good that you said that, because I know that last year when me and Marty were talking, I saw Wayne Memorial. It had to be 3 or 4 years ago. But they had a freshman that was on the block, and she was good. You know what I mean? So if she's matured any, it's going to be hard. And I know when I was looking through the brackets, I saw Wayne Memorial at B. John Glenn or whatever. So I know that they're still alive. What about something to cheer about?
We had Gibraltar Carlson edge out rival Allen Park up at Central Michigan.
Okay.
They ended up, they won by 68 points over Allen Park, and ended up winning the D2 state championship. It's the 12th state championship for Carlson in program history. Allen Park had won the last 3, so they also snapped Allen Park's streak.
Yeah, right.
Those two teams, it's just back and forth. And I think going back to 2008, I believe all but maybe 1 or 2 years, they've been 1-2 in Division II. So it's just, those are,
wow.
The downriver area is the hotbed, for cheer. You've got those two teams at the top, but you've also had Southgate has been strong. Trenton's has been strong. You've had Groseal. Groseal finished 4th in Division III.
This year?
Yep, also up at Central Michigan. They ended up qualifying in the regional, and then they went up and finished 4th, which is respectable, 4th out of 8 teams.
Definitely.
So that program is definitely on the rise there too.
I don't know. I remember Carlson had the advantage last time because they were at home. And that's the only advantage. I mean, it wasn't that it was a real advantage because they won by 0.5, right? And that was a couple weeks ago against Allen Park. So now they go on a neutral site and they beat them by 0.68. So they're throwing their weight around a little bit. But it makes me think, like, do you want to lose by 20 or do you want to lose by 1 or 0.68?
It's got to be tough to lose by such a small amount.
Yeah, because you're going to just think every little thing that you could have done to change that score, But hats off to both of those programs. Like you said, Allen Park has nothing to be ashamed of. No. They won 3 in a row, and then they lose in the championship this year to a team that has won 12, since 2008 or so.
So you've coming away with the runner-up trophy is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I think in most states that one of those teams, if there was different divisions, they'd be both winners.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, hey, congratulations to Gibraltar Carlson, for winning the state championship in that. And now to Jet Set Janeski Sport, we're going bowling. Bowling for, not dollars, but I guess trophies. Bowling for state championships. How things turn out?
The way they do things in bowling is they have the team state championships on Friday, and then the following day, Saturday, they do the individual championships. So on Friday, we actually had 3 teams make it to the championship.
Okay.
We had the New Boston Huron boys who've had a phenomenal run these past few years. They made it to the championship, and then they lost out to Flint Kersley in the finals. Flint Kersley, is a great team. They ended up, I don't remember what the score was there, but they ended up as runner-up. And then Woodhaven made it all the way to the finals at Division I. That one was actually a Thunderbolt here in Allen Park, and they ran into a really good Wayne Memorial team in the finals. And they ended up coming away with the runner-up trophy.
So Wayne Memorial beat
Woodhaven.
They beat Woodhaven, and we know Woodhaven had been pretty good. I
Right.
mean, just talking to Marty.
Right.
Marty, I'm sorry. So you got a runner-up for New Boston Huron, and then you got a runner-up for Woodhaven for the state championship, and that was the team game.
Right, but we also had a championship too. We had the Taylor Trillium girls.
All right, Taylor Trillium, state champs. Congratulations! They were the state champs for Division IV. Taylor Trillium, not that they came out of nowhere because they've been good all year, and so we've seen it coming. But congratulations to them for winning it. Individuals. You said that the individual and the state were 2 different days. So they play the games, the team game on Friday, and then on Saturday they come back and then they play for themselves. And then 60 competitors.
Right.
And then they just go by the score to tell you who's the state champ.
The way they do that is they have a qualifying block where the kids, all 60 bowlers, they'll bowl 6 games, and then your top 16 from there, based on total pinfall, move on to match play. And match play is each bowler bowling head to head, and then in that, each bowler bowls 2 games, and then your pin total from there, the highest pin total for each bowler there moves on to the next round.
Okay.
Because you have 4 rounds with 16. You start with the first round, then you go into the quarterfinals and such. The biggest probably name coming out of the weekend was Donnie Jacobs over at Huron. He had a monster weekend.
Donnie Jacobs.
Starting actually on Friday with the team in the quarterfinals, he bowled a 300 against Gibraltar Carlson, and that actually launched. That got Huron past Carlson and into the semifinals that day. And then the next day, he was the top seed. He was the number 1 bowler out of 60.
Okay.
In that state.
I got you.
I'm sorry, in that Division 2. And then he ended up reaching the semifinals. He made it all the way to the semifinals before he finally got knocked out.
Yeah, and 300, I mean, that's the highest you can get. So he came out the gates hot, right? He came out the gates hot, and then he got to the semis. So it's still good. And you also mentioned that the top, I want to say 16, are considered all-state.
No, they do that a little bit different.
Okay.
I don't know the exact process for establishing all-state in bowling.
Okay.
But
so the 16 move on from the block then.
Right.
So the top 16 go.
Right.
The young lady that we've been covering for the last 4 years, Angelina Rodriguez, she came in 21st in that first 60, so she was 5 away from the 16 for qualifying, but she was only 22 pins away from the 16 slot. So that shows you how tight those scores are. She's 22 pins away from getting a 1 versus 16 and 2 versus 15 type of deal. So congratulations to Angelina. I'm sure that should get her all regional. We wish she would have got all state. Hoping to hear soon where she's going to school because she can flick that thing like nobody's business. On the boys' side, Tommy Bain from Wyandotte had 27th, and he was the closest to getting to the final round for the Wyandotte boys. No, I mean that's a lot of good information that we got. We do have some state champs out of it with Taylor Trillium, and then Gibraltar Carlson, and then wrestling did well as well, and that wrapped up this season. Off the top, not to put any pressure on you, at the top, do you know any wrestler that did fare well?
We had Sebastian Martinez from Riverview Gabriel Richard. He ended up winning the state championship at 157 pounds. And he's only a sophomore, and this was actually his 2nd consecutive state championship. He actually beat the same kid.
That he beat last year
and this year.
His name's Sebastian?
Sebastian Martinez.
Sebastian Martinez, that's a name to know, okay? He's got 2 more years. He's already come away with 2 state championships.
Yeah,
he can't do nothing but go down, right?
Yeah.
You better go up, Sebastian. And you said 157 he won it. Wyandott's own Max Biondo came in 6th place in 157.
Right.
So that makes him all state.
Yeah, the top eight in each weight class are all state in each division.
Okay. So that's congratulations to Max at 157. Do we have any other luck for 17?
We had Michael Stathakis at 175. He finished 6th. He was all state. We also had Christian Byron at 144 in Division 1. He was also all state.
Okay. So the big three for Wyandotte all go all state in different weight classes, all the way from 144 to 175. You got to watch out for those Bears grapplers. So no, congratulations to those guys. I think that's cool that they give you all state if you're in the top 8, because I mean that's a tough sport. Like I've said for years, like wrestling itself is just the most stamina, the most in shape kids I ever met. They were always like gritty. So it's good to see those kids do really well. What's up on the docket for you this week or next week, Frank? What do you got going?
This week, as we mentioned, it's the March Madness for the high school. So in the boys' end of things with basketball, we got the districts.
Okay.
That started last night, as we mentioned, and then Wednesday we get into the semifinals.
Sure.
And then Friday, barring any more crazy weather, we'll have the finals played throughout the area. We've also got the girls' end. We're into the regional round now.
Okay.
So we'll have Riverview playing Tuesday night, and we've also got Riverview Gabriel Richard and some of the other the winners there that we mentioned.
Sure.
Will be going on and be playing on Tuesday night. And
so you're about to jump into your March Madness swing for real, because cheer's over now, wrestling's over now, and hockey's over now.
Right. Well, almost, yeah.
Hockey's not over. It's the Frozen Four. You're right. Okay. So we got those couple things going. So it's going to be another big week. Hey, make sure you contact us at Local Sports Wrap Up. We'd love to hear from you. Frank, man, it's always good to get there. Frank the Tank, he got all the information, man. We love having him. Please email him. Tell him to keep coming. Keep coming, Frank. That's all you got to do. Tell him keep coming. And it's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure. It's great to be here.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, so what I like to say is, as we wrap up, is thank you. Getting ready for March Madness myself. It's going to be a great week. NCAA basketball starting at 11 a.m. throughout this week. So it's starting this week and next week. So it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time for basketball and for spring.
Definitely.
All right. Have a great day.